Lift off. Hi, I'm Mr. Romanovich, and that's Mr. Mackenzie again. These are the parts of an expression. Make sure you get all this down. We're going to work at 6EE2. That's identifying the parts of expression using mathematical terms. So be sure we're using the correct mathquidge for this. That means that then by the end of this video...
Did you just say mathquidge?
Mathquidge. Use your mathquidge.
All right.
You will be able to say to yourself silently or out loud, but not as loud as your mom could hear you, I can identify the terms, like terms, constants, and coefficients in an expression. Here we go.
All right. So we're going to start with our first term. Or it's actually a term, the word term. It is the parts of an expression that are being added together. So go ahead and fill that vocabulary into your notes and then jot down this example. But basically your terms are just each of the separate pieces that go into the expression, the problem. So we would just list them out. 2x is a term, 13 is a term, 5x is a term, 4y is a term, and, almost said plus, and 8 is a term. It's just each of the separate pieces.
Then we're looking for the like terms. Now these are the terms that are similar to each other. So let's start with our terms that contain the same variable. So if we start with all the terms that contain the variable x, we have 2x and 5x, and we'd separate those with a comma. And then we have 4y. So 4y would just get its own line. And I love the way Mr. Mackenzie has differentiated them by underlining the x's and circling the y term.
Now what can I come up with for my constants? Ooh, we haven't talked about constants yet. Maybe I'll use a box for these last ones.
Perfect.
So then we have our plain old numbers, 13 and 8. Next we have constant. I kind of gave it away on the last one. It's a term without a variable. I kind of like to think of it as just the plain old number. So in this example, 13 and 8 are my constants. They're just regular old numbers. They don't have a variable attached to them.
Then the coefficient. Now this is the number of a term that is included with the variable. And what it actually means is that how many times we're going to multiply that variable by. So we're looking for coefficients. That is like in the 2x we're seeing 2 is the coefficient of x. In the 5x we're seeing 5 is the coefficient of that x, and 4 is the coefficient of that particular y.
So our coefficients would be 2, 5, and 4. Think of it as is the number in front of the variable. Like Mr. Romanovich said, it's how many times you're going to multiply times whatever x or y happens to be. So let's try one together. Oop, didn't mean to color green on there. So jot down this expression. An expression is just a combination of variables and numbers mixed together. And then let's fill in each of these as we go. So I'll take the first one. I like the easy one. Ooh, I forgot one thing. When you have a plain old variable, think about how many x's is this representing? Well, it's 1x. So get in the habit of filling in that invisible 1 there. X just means that there is 1x there. So my terms would be 5x, 7, and 1x. You can take the next one.
Then my like terms, those are the terms that we can eventually put together, are terms that are similar. So 5x and 1x are like terms. Are we going to list the 7 there?
I'm going to list the 7.
Okay. And 7 is its own like term. So it's by itself now, but we'll keep it there too.
But that's okay. Our constant, remember those are our boring old plain old numbers. So in this case, that's going to be my 7. Let me clear out some junk here for us.
And then our coefficients, we have a 5 with our x. So we have a 5, and then that hidden 1 that's in front of the x by itself. That hidden 1 comes up a lot in math. So we have 5 and 1 for our coefficients.
So even though we had to write that one in, it still counts as one of those coefficients. We can't forget it just because it wasn't there originally. All right, your turn. Copy down our expression, and then list out your terms, your like terms, your constants, and your coefficients. List these words in your notes. Don't just jot down things in little piles on your page and expect us to know which one was which. Get used to that vocabulary and what to look for as you're doing the problem.
Good luck.